Everybody, thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much for getting up. Thank you very, very much for getting up so early in the morning to be here. I appreciate it very much. I have to say, if you guys have a lot of business intelligence, you're the last people in America who do. So cross the street very carefully and register yourself with Mr. Bernanke right away as an important natural resource. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to be here with such smart people. I have no idea, no clue how they get all that information on one little disk. I have no idea of how they get all this information. Somehow somebody weaves it in there on that little tiny plastic or whatever it is disk. I have no idea what you do, but I'm very, very impressed about it. I'm always impressed when people can do something that I can't do, and you guys can do everything I can't do, so I'm very impressed. Ladies and gentlemen, I woke up this morning in my hotel, the Fairmont, where many of you are staying. I met quite a few of you last night, hanging out at the lobby, and I love being here in Seattle. I got a call from my sister this morning. She travels a lot. She married a wealthy man, an option that was not open to me, she called me from Turin. Oh no, this morning was Milan. She called me from Milan. And she said, I've been up. I went sightseeing earlier in the day, and I saw this museum and that famous old church, this famous old bridge. And now I'm back in the hotel. I've done 60 minutes on the treadmill. I'm about to do 30 minutes on the Stairmaster. What have you done? By which she meant, the meaning of that was, what have you done, you fat pig? And I said, well, you know what, Rachel? I woke up, and I looked out the window of my hotel at the Fairmont, and I saw an enormous American flag flying over the hotel, and I saw the incredibly beautiful water out past the hotel, and I got on my knees, and I thank God for waking up in the United States of America one more day, and that's all the exercise I need. And then I got up, and I was thankful again. And I was very, very grateful, and I'm very, very grateful for working with you people at Microsoft. As I say, I have no idea how Vista works. I have no clue how it works. I just know that it enables me to earn my living, and I'm very, very grateful for that. I could not earn my living or anywhere near the kind of living I earn now without Microsoft products. I'm very, very grateful. I know a lot of people make fun of Vista, a lot of people make fun of Microsoft. But I can tell you I would be living in a very, very tiny little apartment instead of in a house with a swimming pool at Beverly Hills if I didn't have Microsoft. So I'm very, very grateful. And I'm very grateful for the people who invited me to this event and who have been so kind to me. There's a great quote by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, which every one of you should remember, which is, people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, they will never forget how you made them feel. And Angie and everybody else who is connected with this project have made me feel like I'm part of your family, and I appreciate it very, very much. Now, also, I want to say that I flew here, as most of you I'm sure did. How many of you took the train here? How many of you flew here? Okay, quite a few more. So I took the plane up here to Seattle, SeaTac, which I come to all the time because I live part of the year in North Idaho, and I was talking to a flight attendant. She told me a story about when she used to work for American Eagle. There was a plane flying from Amarillo to Port Arthur, and even though it's all within Texas, it's quite a long flight. And the plane takes off, and the flight attendant comes, or the pilot comes on, and she says, or he says, well, maybe it was she. He says, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're on a rugged Brazilian-made Embraer jet. It's an all-weather plane. It can fly really, really well in any kind of weather. It's got twin engines, rugged. We're going to run into some heavy weather east of Dallas, but we'll be fine because we're in a rugged Brazilian-made Embraer plane. So they take off. They run into very heavy weather east of Dallas, as predicted. And about 10 minutes into the flight, a lightning bolt streaks out of the sky and hits the port engine. Which is the port engine? Left, exactly. Very good. And it knocks it out. Pilot comes on very cheerfully on the public address system and says, don't worry about a thing. This plane was designed to fly all day and all night on one engine, so you just sit back and enjoy the flight. About 5 minutes after that, another lightning bolt streaks out of the sky and hits the starboard engine, which is the right engine, exactly, and knocks it out. And the pilot comes on and says, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry about a single thing. This plane, oh wait, he says, just a minute. Wait a minute. No, that's not right. This plane was not designed to fly on no engines. It was designed to fly on one engine or two engines, but not on no engines. So we know you have a choice in air carriers, and we appreciate very much the fact that you chose American Eagle. But gosh, now in the very unlikely event that your future plans call for air travel, we hope you'll consider American Eagle again. But unfortunately, because we're not designed to fly on no engines, we are going to crash. And we're really, really sorry. It wasn't meant to turn out that way. But I do have two pieces of good news. One, the altitude of the plane now is 32,000 feet. I'm going to manually put it into a slow decline, and so it'll be about 8 or 10 minutes before we hit the ground, although we will hit it pretty hard. The second thing is that the bar is open and the drinks are on American Eagle. So a beautiful statuesque woman in the last row stands up, and she says, "We're all going to die. We're all going to die. Is there any man on this plane who can make me feel like a real Texas woman before I die?" And 2 rows ahead of her, a handsome, strapping cowboy stands up and says, "You really want to feel like a Texas woman, honey?" And he takes off his cowboy hat, and she says, "I sure do, partner." And he rips off his shirt, hands it to her, and says, "Iron this and get me a beer." And then a man comes home from work one day, and he sees his wife sitting in the living room looking very sad. And he says, "Honey, what's the matter?" She says, "Oh, terrible day. The maid didn't show up. And so I was trying to straighten up the house for you, and I was cleaning around the house, and I went into our 14-year-old son Timmy's room, into his walk-in closet, and there in his walk-in closet, as I expected, was a wild riot of dirty clothes, which I was expecting, but under them was, to my shock, a pile of sadomasochism, punishment, bondage, and discipline magazines. Our 14-year-old son is reading punishment, bondage, and discipline magazines, and obviously reading them very carefully because they were paper-clipped and thumbed and had notes on them. What am I going to do? What can I do? And the husband says, "Well, don't spank him." Anyway, and just one more little story. There are 4 men playing pinochle in a day room of a senior center in South Beach, Florida, Miami, Florida. And a 93-year-old woman comes toddling down the hall towards them, and she's got on her house dress. She's holding behind her back a spatula. And she walks up to them and says, "If any one of you can guess what I'm holding in my hand, you can have sex with me." And one of the men says, "A full-grown alligator?" And she says, "Close enough."